The Land Raider is one of the oldest and most respected vehicles in the Space Marine motor pool, and in 40k as a whole. Of course, it is iconic to the setting, and I don't think it's going anywhere. I don't think I've ever met someone who didn't like the Land Raider. Hello everybody, my name is Spoons Rattling, and today we are covering the Land Raider. Just the standard variant today, though we will cover the other two variants and the flying variant in due time. So, the Land Raider is of course quite a ginormous, chunky vehicle. It comes in at 240 points, it has 10 inches of movement, toughness 12, 2+ save, 16 wounds, leadership 6+, and OC 5, so it actually has some weight on objectives. It has a lot of wounds, and toughness 12 means it's resilient to pretty much all kinds of weaponry except the most dedicated anti-tank like laser destroyers. Its 2+ save does help in that regard and loves cover, especially when being targeted by those super weapons. Movement 10 is fairly standard for a tank of this side, though is nice as it can transport some very slow things. In terms of ranged weapons, on the top you can mount a Multi-Melta or Stormbolter. The Multi-Melta is Melta 2, 18-inch range, 2 attacks that hits on 3, strength 9, AP 4, and damage D6. A fairly nice little extra anti-armor punch, though that's not necessarily where this tank struggles. And then, or you can mount a Stormbolter, which rapid fire 2, 24-inch range, 2 attacks, hit on 3, strength 4, AP 0, damage 1. Again, I've said this a million times, fairly standard anti-light infantry firepower. The Stormbolter is twin-linked and sustain hits 1. It hits on 3 attacks, 36-inch range, strength 5, AP 1, damage 2. Some light, anti-infantry firepower. It's good for killing Space Marines, but not too much else. Then on the sponsons, we of course have the Godhammer las cannons, which have 2 attacks apiece, ballistic skill 3+, 48-inch range, strength 12, AP 3, damage D6+1, and it of course has 2 of those, which means it has 4 shots total, which are all very powerful, and we'll love things like at the moment. Then you can also mount a Hunter-Killer Missile, which is 1 shot, 1 attack that hits on 2s, but it will always miss, 48-inch range, strength 14, AP 3, damage D6+1. This is, of course, a nice extra juiced punch of anti-armor when you make first contact with the enemy, or if they have something very obvious that you need to blast away with the las cannons, and the Hunter-Killer Missile, which will leave most vehicles in a much worse state than they started off in. In terms of melee weapons, it's fairly unimpressive, 6 attacks, they hit on 4, strength 8, AP 0, damage 1. Don't charge this thing. In terms of abilities, it has Deadly Demise D6. Of course, so that is quite a bit of explosion, so be careful if you're facing something that can easily destroy this, which there's not too many things that can do this, but just be mindful of what you're putting around it. Anything super fragile certainly won't like it. Though it is also useful if you charge into the enemies with it, not actually you get them close in, this thing explodes, it can shower mortal wounds over the entire enemy army. Then Assault Ramp, each time this unit disembarks from this model after it is moved, that unit is still eligible to charge, which is super useful, as this thing has 12 transport slots for infantry, jump packs, terms take 2 spots, and Centurions take 3. For 240 points, this is a very, very well-rounded kit, and is overall a very solid tank in general. You're not going to lose this thing too easily unless you're facing some seriously dedicated anti-armor, something like a Gladiator Lancer, or anything larger. So, in terms of the best use, the Land Raider is of course a well-rounded unit. Its damage is good, but its toughness is better, and of course you definitely need to be making use of its transport capacities, preferably with something that's meant for combat. Well, you can technically transport just about anything, whether it be Centurions, Mark 10 armor, Tactics armor, or jetpacks or Terminators. It feels strange to run a Land Raider and not fill it up with Terminators. I'm not saying you can't do it, I'm just saying it's a little strange in my opinion. And the best Terminators for it, in my personal opinion, are the Deathwing Knights. As they only come in 5s, it's not like you can run a bigger unit, and you can attach a character, and then have them all saddle up in this and move off. This is of course very solid, as Deathwing Knights, while they are fine foot slogging, extra speed never hurts. And they will of course appreciate getting to far-flung enemies quicker to vanquish them. Of course, as I mentioned, its damage is good, but you will need to make use of both its damage, its transport capacity, and its toughness for this thing to be really worth bringing, so make sure you have something worth transporting. Don't just fill it with Assault Intercessors or something like that. You'd want to fill it with something like Blade Guard or Inner Circle Companions if you don't want to use Terminators, though I'd say the other transports are better for that overall. Overall, I'd say the Land Raider is, again, rock solid. It's not going to go down too easy, it's going to pack quite a punch for whatever it points at, and it can transport some seriously deadly units. Anyways, I've been Spoons Rattling. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.